somebody has been, she spent hours before I woke up trying to get into my laptop briefcase. She wanted to get into the laptop briefcase because I keep those stringy earphones, the little ones that you buy for $5 on the string. She likes to play with the string. And then she knocked over my beverage on my nightstand, so then I was up trying to clean all that liquid up. So she's been a naughty girl today. She's just been trying to catch my attention, something severe. I did buy a selfie stick because I wanted to be able to show what she's doing on the floor. I don't know how to do that yet. I'd probably have to get software that puts another camera in the thing so you can watch the kitty as she destroys everything on the floor. But I lost all the wiring. I have no idea what I did with it. Oh, and if you haven't watched the Cosmic Debate, Star Trek versus non-Star Trek books, please go watch that. I was going to show some previews here and I forgot. So anyways, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smashy stuff going on here. And this week every Friday we recap Star Trek Next Generation episodes. And I said before, I just found this book a little while ago, and I'm very upset that I never found it sooner, because I could have used this for all the seasons, and it doesn't cover, not that I know of, it doesn't cover season 7. So, I'm a little upset that I won't have it for season 7, but the Nitpicker's Guide to Star Trek, and I'm also upset that there's no Nitpicker's Guide to Voyager. I'm upset with myself that I could have used this all 6 seasons. It would have been good. So stay tuned to the end of this. There's only a couple very minor nitpicks for this episode. So we are on season 6, disc 6, episode 249, The Rightful Heir. Frame of mind, I didn't do too much of a recap there because I refused to watch it. Because it was a Riker mental thing, and me and mental things don't go well, and it made me uncomfortable the whole episode. I don't believe that you should try to be convincing somebody they're ill when they're not ill, and using drugs and all that kind of stuff to convince a person they're ill. That just didn't fly with me. And then suspicious last week, and now we're doing Rightful Heir, and next week we're doing Second Chances. So, let's get started. There's no captain overview for this. So it's just data. Hold on a second. So Riker and Data have a conversation. Good morning, Commander. Data, interesting night. I found it extremely interesting. The lateral sensor array ran 3 separate spectral analyses of the Alwan Nebula on 3 distinct frequencies. Sorry I missed it. I will have a report sent to you, sir. We are still on course for Garmin sector. Our speed is warp 6, ETA 1300 hours. Sick bay reported 1 minor injury in the exobiology department at 0420 hours. Very well. Isn't Lieutenant Worf scheduled to replace Ensign Torgen? Yes, sir. I was not informed of any change in the duty roster. He's never late. Riker to Lieutenant Worf. Computer locate Lieutenant Worf. Lieutenant Worf is in his quarters. Something's wrong. Mr. Data, you have the bridge. Security team, meet me on Deck 7, Section 25, Baker. So Worf looks like he's got a holodeck in his apartment today. So Riker comes in and says, Worf, what the hell are you doing? And that's the end of their meeting. I hate when they do this. You talk, the camera's in your face. They talk, the camera's in their face. I want to see both parties at the same time. So Picard comes in and he's talking to Worf. And he says, Mr. Worf, your personal affairs are strictly your own concern until they interfere with the operation of the ship. You have now crossed that line. As your captain, I want to know exactly what's going on. It's difficult to explain, Worf says. Picard says, try. Ever since I returned from Kara's system, I have felt empty. Does this have something to do with the Klingons you rescued on Kara 4? They were young, they knew nothing of their heritage, so while I was there, I tried to teach them about their people, their culture. I told them our stories, instructed them in our customs, explained our beliefs. I told them about Kahless, how he united our people long ago, how he gave us strength and honor, how he promised to return one day and lead us again. Is that what you're doing here, trying to recapture those feelings? Yes, I was trying to summon a vision of Kahless. It's a pity you didn't try using the holodeck instead of setting fire to your own quarters. Using the holodeck would not have been appropriate. Everything had to be real if Kahless was to appear. But all this was nothing. He did not come to me. I gave Tog and the others belief in this Stovo core, the life which lies beyond this life where Kahless awaits. When I saw the power of their beliefs, I began to question the strength of my own. I found it wanting. Have you lost your faith in Stovokar? To lose something, you must first possess it. I am not sure I ever had a true belief. Should not allow it to interfere with my duties. My behavior has been inexcusable, Picard says, and understandable. It may be that you're looking for cannot be found here on the Enterprise. Perhaps you need to immerse yourself in the Klingon beliefs in order to discover whether they hold any truth for you. Is there something you can do? Is there somewhere you could go to explore more faithfully? Boreth, he says, the followers of Chaos await his return there. To Klingons, there is no more sacred place. Boreth is only 12 days from here by shuttle. As of this moment, Mr. Worf, you are on leave. Thank you, sir. But when you set foot on the ship again, I expect you to perform your duties like a Starfleet officer. Yes, sir. Mr. Worf, I hope you found what you're looking for. I was wrong. They do show them standing next to each other at one point. So Worf goes to this place. So he's in this cave and he's doing all this chanting stuff. And somebody sees Kahless and has a vision and he leaves. And then Worf decides he's going to leave because he hasn't seen anything. And then this guy shows up. So Worf is questioning his faith and all that kind of stuff. And this guy shows up claiming to be Kahless. So they're all like, who are you? But he looks exactly like his portrait on the wall. He says, I am Kahless. I have returned because there's a great need in my people. They fight among themselves in petty wars and corrupt the glory of Klingon spirit. They have lost the way, but it's not too late. I have returned. I will leave my people again. Then he tells this story. I went into the mountains all the way to the volcano of Kristek. There I cut off a lock of my hair and thrust it into the river of molten rock, which poured from the summit. The hair began to burn. Then I plunged into the lake of Lusor and twisted it into this sword. After I used it to kill the tyrant Molar, I gave it a name, a Bathlith, the Sword of Honor. You know the story of this sword is only known to the high clerics. It was never written down, so that if he returned, we could be sure it was Kahless. I have returned because there is a great need in my people. So then Worf wants to scan him with his tricorder, make sure he's real. So then they were all sitting down to this feast kind of situation. And they're telling him Garon is the leader of the council. He commands the entire defense force. If he chooses to oppose you, don't worry, we are on the threshold of a new era for our people. Klingons from all over the Empire will flock to my banner. Yet something still weighs heavy on the brow of Son of Mog. And him and Worf go back and forth, talking about the faith and all that other kind of stuff. I was looking again for a group shot. I can't find it. So Crusher, Worf, Data, Riker, Picard, are all at the round table. I don't see Diana anywhere. Deanna. So they're discussing the fact that she did a medical scan and a checkup of Kahless. Um, and it's going to be difficult to eliminate any possibilities at this point. He may be a coalescent being taken from Klingon form, or a bioreplicant, or even a Klingon who's been surgically altered to look like Kahless. There is another possibility, Worf says. He could be Kahless. The appearance of Kahless in the lava caves is consistent with the stories found in Klingon sacred texts. Riker says, Worf, no offense, but I have trouble believing that the man I escorted to Deck 8 is supernatural. I did not say that he is. I merely think we should not completely reject the possibility. We have no reason to rule out anything. We are not ordered to investigate the origins of our guests, nor tell anyone what they should believe. We're simply going to transport Kahless to the homeworld. And that's what they're going to do. Now, I stopped this here because this is one of the nitpickers things that we'll talk about later. Data asks, in the absence of empirical data, how will you determine whether or not this is the real Kahless? Worf says it's not an empirical matter, it's a matter of faith. Faith. Then you do believe Kahless may have supernatural attributes. As an android, I'm unable to accept that which cannot be proven through rational means. I would appreciate hearing your insights on this matter. Perhaps some other time, Commander. I do not believe I can provide much insight at this time. What if Jesus came down? How would they prove if some guy said and proved, or how would he prove he was him? Faith, the religious whatever would probably totally absolutely believe, but there would be skeptics out there. And would they expect him, because Jesus was technically a human being when he was on Earth, and so are they going to ask him to perform tricks, to turn water into wine, or depart the seas or something? Are they just, is there anybody who can prove they're descended? Well, Jesus didn't have any kids that we know of. At least I don't think he did. But would there be some way to trace his ancestry for Mary and Joseph? And there's a whole bunch of different deities out there. Every religion's got their own. If your person showed up, would you believe it was your person? Think on that. Any of your persons, any of your gods out there. So then Garon comes, and where is he, Picard? I assume you're referring to Kahless. I'm referring to the filthy Patak who is using his name. Well, the person in question is in his quarters. What have you learned so far? What kind of medical analysis you made? Have you any theories about his origin? I haven't done any analysis. What kind of fools do you have working for you, Picard? The imposter's been aboard for nearly a day. If you wanted to run tests on Kahless, you should have sent a Klingon ship for him, and have him begin spreading poisonous lies throughout the ship of loyal Klingons? Never. If he really is an imposter, then you have nothing to worry about. Kahless has been dead for over 1,000 years, but the idea of Kahless is still alive. Have you ever fought an idea, Picard? It is no weapon to destroy, no body to kill. The idea of Kahless' return must be stopped here now, or it will travel through the Empire like a wave and leave nothing but destruction. Oh, I would still prefer a group shot. So they're all in Kahless's quarters. Picard says, so Garan has come aboard in order to test your claim. Garan knows that his days are nearly over. Now he comes crawling aboard with some kind of test. Torin, we do not have to prove anything to Garan. Kahless says, what is this test? He has brought a knife with him, a knife that is supposed to be stained with the blood of Kahless. Garan has brought the knife of Kiron. No one is permitted to remove that from the sacred vault. Garan does not care about what is sacred. Picard says he wants to run a genetic analysis on a blood sample of you and on the knife, and if it's to see if there's a match. So he agrees to the blood test. So the computer says the blood tests are a match. Oh my F. Oh my G. So then he has special time with Worf. They have a meal, a little bit of a meal anyway, a beverage. And he says that it was Worf that brought him back, his purity of heart that summoned him back. So then Worf is talking to Garon. Um, it will be glorious, Worf says. It will be war. You are not a fool, Worf. Do you really think that every Klingon in the Empire will bend his knee and grovel before this man just because Korra says he's Kahless? He is Kahless. Your test proved it. I will not hand over the Empire to Korra because of one test. It is not Korra. Of course it's Korra. Open your eyes. Korra and the other Guardians have always opposed me. There is nothing more than a ploy for them to finally seize power. Even now, there are rumors on my own ship who want to see Kahless. There are others who believe he is an impostor. The divisions are already forming. But it does not have to be this way. We could all join together and welcome Kahless as a united people. Don't you see this is exactly why they want you to join them? Because your brother sits on the council and your voice carries weight in the Empire. They want you to influence others to follow them, Worf. We fought together one side to keep the Empire from being torn apart. Will you stand by and let these impostors destroy all that we fought hard to protect? Renounce him, Worf. Stand with me and we can hold the Empire together. You do not understand. Kahless is our future. Only with his help can we revive the pure warriors within ourselves. Listen to him, Garan. Open your heart. Hear his words. He will restore your faith. He has restored mine. See what happens. So now they're in the hollow deck of the Enterprise. So Garan and Kahless meet, and Kahless says, long ago, a storm was heading toward the city of Quinlan. The people sought protection within the walls, all except one man who remained outside. I went to him and asked what he was doing. I am not afraid, he said. I will not hide my face behind stone and mortar. I will stand here before the wind and make it respect me. I honored his choice and went inside. The next day the storm came and the man was killed. The wind does not respect a fool. Do not stand before the wind, Garam. What was his name? What? If you are really there, you should be able to tell us the name of the man outside the walls. Describe him to us. What was he wearing? How tall was he? What color was his eyes? I do not remember. It was long ago in another time. What matters is I have returned to restore faith and hope to my people, to lead them back to the way of honor and glory that was once theirs and begin again. What you pose, Garm? I oppose you are not Kahless. I will not bend my knee to you as long as I can draw breath or pick up a blade. And then they have a little tete-a-tete. So then this Korath guy says, we will say that Garan used a dishonorable tactic in his fight with Kahless, that he cheated. That is a lie. He did not. We do not need to hear any more from the son of Morg. None of this would have happened if you hadn't brought them together. I am Kahless. I am the strongest, the bravest warrior. Do not think about what happened. You must think about the future of the Empire. There is no future here, no glorious era for our people. Garan was right. You did not know the name of the man who faced the storm. You do not even know what real war tastes like. And you certainly aren't the greatest warrior of them all. Whoever you are not Kahless. You have said enough. Now get up. You are using the name Kahless for some twisted game alone. You should die, and if you do not tell me what you have done, I will kill you right here. Carver says the problems with your memory are the result of the way you returned. What do you mean? We, the Guardians, have been waiting your return for centuries. We did not have the technology to bring you back until now. We were able to use an organic sample of Kahless to give you life. The first Kahless? A clone. He is a clone. What is a clone? Created in a laboratory by genetic material taken from another being. You are a copy, a fraud. You are not just a copy. We gave you more than the body of Kahless. We found a way to imprint specific information on your neurosynaptic patterns. We gave you memories, and not just any memories. We gave you the experience of Kahless as written in the sacred text. I do not remember any of these things. I was never at the city of Quinlan. I never went to Kristat Volcano. You were not awakened until we transported you into the cave and appeared before Worf. Before that time, you were unconscious in a laboratory. So he's a clone. They created him. He's fake. He's 100% fake. So after discussing the fact that the guy is a clone with Worf, they tried to convince Worf to stay quiet about the whole thing. So the next thing is with Data in the temple. Data says they've been sitting here for 3 hours, 17 minutes. They refused to transport back to the ship with the rest of Garon's men. They insisted on waiting here until they see Kahless again. Their faith appears to be unaffected by their inability to defeat Garon. They still believe. They are fools. Does that mean you no longer believe this is the real Kahless? Yes. I am curious, do you still think the real Kahless will return someday, or has this experience only deepened the spiritual crisis which originally sent you to Boreth? I do not know. I understand your dilemma. I once had what could be considered a crisis of spirit. You? Yes, the Starfleet officers who activated me on Omicron Theta told me I was an android, nothing more than a sophisticated machine with a human form. However, I realized that if I were simply a machine, I could never be anything else. I could never grow beyond my programming. I found that difficult to accept, so I chose to believe that I was a person, that I had the potential to be more than a collection of circuits and sub-processors. It is a belief which I still hold. How did you come to your decision? I made a leap of faith, Data says. I keep waiting for a group shot. It's not coming up. So Worf tells Garon that Boreth is not Kahless, he is a clone. Yes. Did you really think you could get away with this fraud, Korath? I will have you and this abomination put to death. It does not matter, Garon. You will still not be able to stand against him. What? He's not real. You just said so. I said he is not the Kahless, but in the minds of our people, he can be just as powerful as Kahless. Even now, 2 members of your own crew are sitting on the holodeck waiting for him to return. I do not care what they think. They are not alone. Like many of our people, they need something to believe in, just like I did. Something larger than themselves, something that will give their lives meaning. They need Kahless. But when they find out the truth, it will not matter, Garan. Despite the facts, they will still believe. They will make a leap of faith, and there will be others just like them. Not everyone, enough to plunge the Empire into a civil war if you oppose them. What are you saying, that I should hand over the Empire? No. That would be unwise as well. Then what are you proposing? You are right about one thing, Korath. Our people are becoming decadent and corrupt. We need moral leadership. Caleb can be that leader as emperor. There hasn't been an emperor in 3 centuries. The political power will remain with the High Council. Kahless would be a figurehead. He would have the ability to rally the people, to lead by example, to guide them in spiritual matters. The title is meaningless without the power to back it up. Real power comes from within the heart. You would have the power to mold Klingon heart. You would return them to honorable ways according to the original teachings of Kahless which are within you. It would be a great challenge if you have the courage to accept it. And what will we tell people about the new emperor, that he appeared in a cave or laboratory? We will tell them the truth, all of the truth. But we will tell them that even if he is not real Kahless, he is the rightful heir to Kahless. And if I refuse to go along with this, then my brother and those who support him on the council will fight you, and I will fight you, and the empire will fall back into civil war. And everybody agrees it's successful. So then Worf says goodbye to the Kahless. Um, I went to Boris to find my face. For a time I thought I had, but my heart is empty again. I do not know what to believe. You doubt the real Kahless will return one day. You still doubt that he is waiting for you in Stovokar. Kahless left us, all of us, a powerful legacy, a way of thinking and acting that makes us Klingon. If these words hold wisdom and his philosophy is Arnold, what does it really matter if he returns? What is important is that we follow his teachings. Like you follow the teachings of your religious person, whoever your religious person is. So that's the end of this episode. So let's just there's only a couple nitpickers. There's only 2. And that was one of the reasons why I played one of the scenes in before. Shortly after Kahless boards the ship, Data asks Worf, in the absence of empirical data, how will you determine if this is the real Kahless? Worf replies that it is not an empirical matter, but a rather matter of faith. In this context, Data replies, as an android, I am unable to accept that which cannot be proven through rational means. That statement makes sense until the episode nears its end. Data speaks to Worf about his own crisis of spirit. He says that shortly after activation, Starfleet officers told him he was merely a collection of computational circuits in a human form. Data says that he didn't want to be limited to that definition. He says that he chose to believe that he was a person. He says that he made a leap of faith. Does a leap of faith classify as a rational means to arrive at an acceptable conclusion? Also, the other little nitpick, does a Klingon century consist of 66.67 years? While chiding Worf for waiting only 10 days for a vision of Kahless, an elder Klingon says they have waited for 15 centuries. Later, however, Gowron claims that Kahless has been dead for 1,000 years. The only way both these statements can be true is if a Klingon century lasts for 66.67 years. Oh, and a changed premise. At one point, Data refers to Starfleet officers who first activated me. Yet, in Data lore, Data says that a sensing device activated him when the officers approached. So, nitpickers, I love this book. I wish I had it earlier. I wish I had seen it before season 6. And before the end of season 6, because it doesn't do 7. And as far as I know, there is no book for 7. So, if you could return with me to Second Chances next week, and if you haven't watched the other 3 episodes, please go back and do so. And if you haven't seen If Then this afternoon and Flashback Mondays, and if you haven't seen the If Then a couple weeks ago or last week, about the cosmic debate, Star Trek books versus non-Star Trek books, but they both involve interplanetary travel. And let me know what you think. Please hit the thumbs up. Thank you.